do it in 15 minutes. So I am going to talk really fast. And what I wanted to look at was this, is how do we get better at creating magic for children? And actually, I don't really want it to be a question, right? I don't really want to get up here and start talking about it and you guys just kind of sit there. I'm really interested in this being more a call to action, right? Because this is what I think we need to do. We're doing a good job, but we can always do better. Is that it? Hands up. So this is what I changed the title to. We are going to get better at creating magic for children. And the way I like to try to get better at things is I like to set up challenges. And so I thought, what would be a good challenge for this, for all of us? I went back to the quote that everybody keeps coming back to, which is an idea can turn to dust or magic, depending on the talent that rubs against it. And the key point there is the talent. So what talents make magic? Now everything kind of goes into it, and usually when we talk to everybody here and you think about your talents, they're kind of the things that are on the resume. But one of the things I've noticed is that I've seen things that were magic that didn't have the best illustrations. I've seen things that are magic that didn't have the best animation, or they didn't have the best writing, but there was still something magical about it. And so I started thinking about the products that I see that are magic. When I meet the people behind them, and there are a lot of them here, this seems to be the big one, right? You guys have heart. And it seems like it comes down to two big things. One is the people have a passion for either what they're trying to teach or what they're trying to create, or they have a passion for kids, which also leads to this other one, which is empathy, and more specific, empathy for children. So I wanted to create a challenge for us to work on this one here, which is empathy for children. And I know we all know what empathy is, but I like the chance to go to Wikipedia because my teachers won't let my kids do it at school because they don't let them use Wikipedia. And so I picked this one out. I like the bottom. It said to put oneself in another's shoes. And if you think about it, children do this naturally on their own. So for us, our challenge is going to be this, right? Try these on this for size. That's a little bit harder to do. And I don't want to just keep it open and say, you know, try to walk in the shoes of a child. I want to get more specific. And I'm going to get it to, what is it like to learn like a child? Remember what that's like? These are two of my guys there. It was the first day back to school. What was it like to be those dudes right there, right? They both have backpacks on that go past their butt, right? The backpacks are almost bigger than them. They got these huge bags of the new supplies they have. And I think it's more important to not only walk in the shoes of the child, but can you see through their eyes? So, right? What is that like? So here's what I think it's kind of like. And one of the things I think that's really important is, can we get ourselves closer to those kids? And here's what I want to ask people. And this group, I know everybody here learns. That's why we're all here, right? But think about the last time you learned something new that was outside your comfort zone, right? So I'm not talking about programmers learning a new programming language. I'm not talking about an artist learning how to use a media. Something outside your comfort zone. Something that was challenging. Something that required hard work, right? We're not just sitting watching Animal Planet. We're actually going to have to work to learn this. And something you have no interest in, and you don't see any value in learning it, right? This is what kids face almost every day going to school, right? That's a challenge, right? So here's my challenge for all of us. It could kind of be a homework assignment. I am going to challenge everybody here to learn something new, outside your comfort zone, something that's challenging, requires hard work. Now, I'm not going to do this to you, because that would just be plain cruel, and I don't see why I would have to treat you guys like children. Also, I think if I'm going to put a challenge out for everybody else, it's only fair I do the challenge myself. So, what I did was I looked at what's outside my comfort zone. I had no really musical background as a kid. I was in a bell choir. I had G. I knew how to ring G when they pointed at me. And I think I once took a social guitar class in college. So I kind of knew, like, you know, every good boy does fine. I couldn't even really read music. But when we were talking about backpacks earlier, about how we put things in our backpacks for our kids, what they want for them to go through life, music's in my kid's backpack that I want for them. It's not in mine. And so I was thinking, maybe I should add it to mine. So my 7th grader is playing trombone. My 5th grader just started playing trumpet. And I thought, I'm going to try to learn trumpet. And so I thought I'd share what I decided to do with the challenge. Not only was I going to do trumpet, I think it helps to make it really specific. I wanted to play this song, What a Wonderful World. And the reason was, is the last part of the song, I was listening one day, and it hit all the things I was thinking about. Right? I hear babies cry, start to get to the empathy of kids, and we watch them grow, right? We're not manufacturing these kids. I love the fact that we watch them grow. A lot of times schools think we're supposed to fit them in this little box, but we're not. We're supposed to see who they're going to become. We can help guide them or help inspire them, but we really want them to be who they're going to be. This middle one I love. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. Is like, yeah, right? We're not supposed to be just taking what we know and filling their heads with it. We're supposed to prepare them to go way beyond where we are, right? We want these kids innovating, inventing, finding cures, things we couldn't even dream of. So how do we do that? And it's not by teaching them memory and rote skills. And so this was my challenge. And I beg you all to try this. If you do it, try to write it down as just one simple little sentence like that. Makes it a little bit easier to see. I'm going to learn how to play Wonderful World on the trumpet. So I'd like to share kind of what I discovered in this process. And the first thing I realized was this. There are a bunch of emotions involved, right? So when you read about somebody and when you hear me talking about it, you're not going to feel what I was actually feeling, right? And so, number one, the beginning was exciting, right? There was adventure, I felt. I was actually feeling giddy, thrilled. I was humming, and I was happy, okay? We had this cornet, which actually was the first step is I didn't have a trumpet, so I need to go back and edit and go to cornet. We had this trumpet in our attic, and I've moved it from place to place probably 10 times since we've lived there, and it was always just moving it. I knew it was up there. I knew what my goal was. I went up to get this thing, and when I grabbed that case, I started feeling all these emotions. Right? I was like, actually, I was doing, this is going to be so cool, like a little kid at Christmas. And here's the thing. You ever see a kid download a new app? Right? They're sitting there, and they're watching the app download, and it's coming down. And it pops up on their screen, and what do their eyes do? Right? I was feeling this. And they hit your button, and it pops out of the screen. And right now, the amount of energy, attention, you got these kids right now. They're like, you could do anything, right? What do we do? Do you think about that? Because right now, you got them at the height. And the worst thing I see is when the kids are like this, their eyes open up like this, and like in 3 seconds they go, right? That person didn't start off the right way. So we need to take advantage of that. Number 2. So, while my 5th grader was at school, I'd steal his book. I got the book out, got the coronet next to it, and I'm going in thinking, well, actually, let's go with these first. These are kind of what I'm thinking. Explore, I'm curious, conflicted, a little naughty, and satisfied. This is what happened. My brain's telling me, Daren, you should read that book. Find out what the correct posture is. Make sure you understand how to take care of this instrument. Other part of me was going, I want to blow this thing, right? And the part of me that won is I grabbed this thing. I grabbed it, and the first thing I did was, that was all right. Harder. Start making some noise, and I wanted to play with this thing. Again, we get our apps out there. How many times do we hold back the kids from being able to play with the concept, right? We put them through like instructions, or we think we have to give them certain definitions, or they really just want to play with it. And that's what I did. You know, the good thing about it being an adult, we get to make that choice. The kids should be able to make those choices also. Number 3, challenge and work. Here's what I was feeling. Frustrated, determined, doubtful, researchy. I like that word. And pain. And why? Because I had a nemesis. So, what I didn't know is I knew that you had to do different combinations on the keys, but I didn't really do the math, which I should have, which I would have known there aren't enough combinations to hit all the notes. So not only do you have to buzz, but you have to be able to buzz at different frequencies. So, right? The little book has everything from the C, the green guys, there, up to that G. All the songs in the book, like Hot Cross Buns, it's in there, right? That's in there. I wanted to play What a Wonderful World. 5th note in What a Wonderful World is that C. And I couldn't do it. I knew what I was supposed to do, but my mouth couldn't do it. And so I started playing stuff like this. And I was killing myself trying to hit that C. And I couldn't do it. And I'd say for about a week, I was working really hard. I was frustrated, but I was determined to do it. I was practicing. I was feeling pain. There were times that I'd get done practicing. I tried to drink a can of pop. My upper lip would get caught in the can because my lips were all over the place. So one day, I got up there and I played. And it was the lamest, wimpiest, weakest, most amazing sound I ever heard, because I played a C. And here's the next one. Power of success. You can't underestimate the power of providing successes for kids. I was feeling, oh yeah, cartwheely, another word I invented, thrilled. I was flying high. That little wimpy C, I was going, yes! I did it, and relieved, because I was doubtful before, and I had a new friend, right? So now I was able to do. And the next note is a D, higher up. So here's the thing that I realized from this. There's a big difference between understanding something, doing something, and knowing something, right? I understood how to play the C. I couldn't do it. Until I actually played the C, I really didn't know what it was. And the way it carried over for the D was something else that was important. I didn't go back to square one. Because not only did I learn how to play a C, but I also learned how to play a note that was higher than I can do. And so I knew I just had to work at it. And so I finally got to. Is that the D? No. Something like that. We'll keep going. So it gets me to the next one, which was inspire and reveal, interest and value. These are huge because remember how we crossed them off for the kids? If I didn't have interest and I didn't have value, there's no way I would have got to that C. There's no way I would have had my lip getting stuck in that can. If you don't have these two things, it's hard to get the kids to do those things. So we really need to work on how do we inspire interest in the actual thing we want to teach, and simply revealing the value. And then the next one was make it personal. So the next step was, for me, I'm still practicing What a Wonderful World, and I started looking at other songs. Because it was What a Wonderful World and all the songs in the hot cross buns and things. But those weren't songs I was really interested in. And I actually was flipping through the book, and I came across a song. I'm going to see if I can try to play that one. I don't know. Check my spit valve. When I played it there, it actually hit it the first time. And it was an amazing feeling again, in that I all of a sudden felt ownership for what I was playing. All right? It felt transformed, like I now added this new thing to who I was. I felt better, and I was starting to enjoy the music. Which gets me to the last one here, and I'll try to hurry up here, which was the ability to navigate our own learning. As adults, we do that all the time. Kids don't have that opportunity so much, right? It gives you control. It helps with being interested. It helps with understanding the value because you've chosen it, and you're empowered. We can do this many ways. A lot of it's just by giving choices. I've heard people a couple times here, they said, we're working on this, we couldn't figure out whether we should put a timer in or not put a timer in. Well, you don't have to make the choice. You let the kids make the choice. You know, I'm trying to make the decision of whether we do it this way or do we give the levels or not show the levels. Give the choice to the kid. So the more choices we could give to the kids, empowering them, the better we can do. Now, my original plan was to play What a Wonderful World. I might try it again, just see why this horn's not working. There's something wrong with this horn. But the other part of being able to navigate is to change course, right? that's a little bit of it. Now, I'm changing course. That's not the song I'm going to play, thankfully, I guess. I decided to change to a different song. And this is something I found that's interesting, is this. When you start your course, you don't really know anything. So the ability to change course is amazing. And so I'm thinking, we're talking about empathy of children. I could think of a better song to try to play. Emphasis on the try. And so I thought about a song written by a superhero named Fred Rogers. And I say superhero because my kids like to play this game of, who's your favorite, what's your favorite? And they'll go, Dad, who's your favorite superhero? And I'll tell them, Mr. Rogers. And I'll go, Mr. Rogers, he doesn't have a superpower. And I say he did, right? This was his superpower. And he's changed the world with it. And I would like us to just get a little bit of that power. So, I'm going to attempt to play a song. This one's actually a lot harder for me to play, but I figure that's more your problem than mine. Because I still like playing it. And if you notice, he actually starts with a C. Right? First note is a C. So I'm going to sit up here, and I'm going to start seeing if I can find some of these notes. Every time you're all, keep real quiet so I don't think you're there. And this is actually the other big part of my challenge, is this. We have kids learn an instrument, and then we throw them in a gym packed with people and ask them to get up and perform. Right? So I didn't put down what my feelings were because I weren't sure what they were. But I have a feeling I know what some of them are. Alright. Let me see if I can find a C first. No. That doesn't help. My big lesson from Warren was, originally I thought my G was a C. I had it backwards, and that was giving me trouble. I said, how do I remember? He said, Star Wars. I said, Star Wars? He said, yes, Star Wars, first two notes are CG, right? So that's as much as I can play of Star Wars. So the C is the next one after that.
I'm going to jump in here for a second. I came from the other side. I studied music all my life. I went to Performing Arts High School with actually Jen Wells from PBS Kids, and I ended up pursuing French horn, getting a doctorate from Juilliard, played with San Francisco Symphony, Israel Philharmonic. I did it. And I have to say what this man just did. Public speaking is the #1 fear of people because they don't understand what this takes. And so my hat's off to you. Amazing.
Thank you. Now, getting back to the children. My son did his first trumpet solo at a concert in a gym full of like 3 times as many people here. And a bunch of the kids did solos, and they hit about 70% of the notes, so a little better than I did. He comes out of the gym, and I say, "Dude, how did that solo feel?" And he looked at me, he said, "I nailed it." And so, Matthew, I nailed it. So, with that, I want to just add one more thing. This was an amazing thing for me personally to do. And I want all of you to have those same feelings. Like I said before, there's a difference between understanding something. You probably understood what I said, right? There's a difference between actually doing it and then knowing something. And I really feel like I've got in touch with a lot of those emotions that we're dealing with these kids. And it isn't a word I heard. It's not a description I heard. It's something I actually felt. All right? And one of them right now is, so thank you.